Live from the broadcasting headquarters of TV47 right here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the Daily Report on this 11th day of March 2024. My name is George Maringa. Catherine Simeloy is on sign language interpretation tonight. Now tonight, we analyze the political situation in the country. My guests are none other than Barnabas Kiplagat Boyd. He is a political strategist and advisor, as well as Fred Okango, Political Affairs Secretary Kanu. These two gentlemen will help analyze the current situation in the country, the state of affairs, the state of the nation, and of course, going by what we've seen in the last few days, of course, leading as well as into the activities and the occurrences that we did see play out today. We invite your feedback as always. Our SMS line is 22047. Start with your name, where you're watching us from, as well as your question or feedback regarding the program. On X, formerly Twitter, at TV47 News, at George Maringa _ use the hashtag Daily Report, hashtag Power and Politics. That segment will be coming your way, but first, a sneak peek into what's making headlines tonight. Tonight, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki issues a stern warning to SGR vandals, even as he confirms that a Kenyan force will go to Haiti. Plus, former Attorney General Amos Wako appointed to head Azimio's presidential election audit team. For those joining us on terrestrial platforms, as well as watching us on our social media platforms, we thank you for joining us, as well as we continue to invite your feedback regarding the program tonight as we look at the state of the nation. Let's get the show on the road, shall we? And Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has disclosed that the Kenyan-led Haiti mission is in the pre-deployment stage. Speaking on Monday, Kindiki announced that Kenya will be joining an international mission to Haiti and that all legal matters had been resolved. Kindiki stated that the deployment was made possible by the reciprocal agreement that Kenya and Haiti signed on March 1st as mandated by the court. Kenya's willingness to lead the force was supported by the UN Security Council, and the deployment was subsequently approved by the Kenyan Parliament. Kenya is anticipated to send at least 1,000 police officers to Haiti, a Caribbean nation where gangs have taken over major towns and other areas.
The status is as you know it. There was a small court matter. That small matter has been resolved because the court said we needed to have a reciprocal agreement with Haiti. That reciprocal agreement has already been signed about a week ago. So we are now in the pre-deployment stage. All the other programs are in place, including the status of forces agreement and the laws on detention, arrests, and other enforcement measures are now in place. The standard operation procedures are in place, and Kenyan police officers will be just part of the multinational security mission in Haiti. Kenya is the lead nation, but there are so many other countries that have pledged to contribute troops. And this came from the mandate of the United Nations Security Council. So it's part of our international obligations. The court matter has been addressed.
And of course, that topic will be forming part of the discussion with my guests tonight. Barnabas Kiplagat Boyd and Fred Okango will want to pick their minds on that specific issue, on what they have to say. Former Attorney General Amos Wako has been appointed to head a 3-person team representing the Azimio la Umoja coalition in the 2022 presidential election audit. The appointment was made just 3 days after President Dr. William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga received the report from the National Dialogue Committee, NADCO. The opposition also appointed former nominated Senator Judith Pareno and forensic investigator Julius Njiraini to the 6-member panel as per the NADCO report. Kenya Kwanza and Azimio were expected to propose 3 members apiece for the committee tasked with scrutinizing the outcomes of the 2022 presidential election. The panel is expected to, amongst others, appoint a reputable firm or a consortium of firms to undertake the evaluation. President William Ruto has yet to make public the names of their nominees to the panel, which should be in place 21 days after the adoption of the NADCO report. Cabinet Secretary for Internal Affairs, Professor Kithure Kindiki, has warned those trying to destroy the modern railway SGR, saying they will be treated as terrorists and face legal action. Speaking in Kambu Town, Makueni County, Kindiki promised to solve border conflicts between Makueni and Taita Taveta counties. He also emphasized that the conflict is a threat to security and it is important for solutions to be found. He also argued that the government will not sit and watch illegal alcohol and drugs kill people.
Wale wananchi ambao wanavamia reli na kuharibu muundo msingi wa reli, nataka ujue tendo hilo ni tendo la kigaidi. Those who are engaged in that activity are enemies of Kenya, just like terrorists. Any person found within the vicinity of a protected facility, including the railway, critical water reservoirs, will be dealt with in accordance with the Protected Areas Act. Ile sheria inalinda ikulu ya rais, usalama pale ndio inalinda hii reli.
Wale watu wanapanda hizi kitu wanaenda kuuza chuma 1,000, na wakimaliza hiyo wanaingia project zenyu za maji, wanaiba chuma ya maji, wanaiba panel ya stima. Kama mnataka kutusaidia, protect our projects.
Indeed, away from that, the number of hospital deliveries in Vihiga County is reported to have increased in the recent past, with 97% of expectant mothers in the area seeking delivery services from qualified healthcare workers. Further, the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey report of 2022 notes that 96% of children under the age of 2 years in the area have been fully vaccinated with the basic vaccines. According to the Vihiga County Reproductive Health Officer Abigail Osendi, despite challenges in the health sector, the devolved unit, in partnership with other bodies such as the Access to Medicine platform, are working to ensure that reproductive health services are easily accessible by expectant mothers in the area. Additionally, mothers are also educated on nutrition, a change in traditional gender roles, and the importance of full obedience to antenatal care.
Right now, I can say if a woman comes to the hospital, whether delivery, hatutakosa oxytocin, hatutakosa pamba, hatutakosa whatever that woman needs to ensure that she gets safe delivery. During antenatal clinic, tunaweza kupeana the services required so that we ensure kwamba they are all wako sawa. So kama the IFAs, to ensure kwamba hana anemia, tuna prevent malaria, tuna ensure kwamba hana minyoo, tuna ensure kwamba ako sawa. Na pia tunasaidia kwa sababu kuna pia mambo ya linda mama ambayo inasaidia kwamba mama ako accessible to services. Na pia remember, services za maternal health ni free of charge kwa katika hospitali za county government.
Issues around sexual and reproductive health, access to commodities, sexual and gender-based violence, teenage pregnancies, HIV infections, which are at a high rate right now. And that is why we decided to do this event differently, so that people from the community can be able to learn about these issues, to be sensitized from experts from the Department of Health and Department of Gender, so that they can know the services that are available in the county, and for them to know that it's their right to access those services.
Now, the government has launched a new 6.5 billion shillings funding kitty through the Kenya Development Corporation aimed at formalizing MSMEs through financial inclusion. MSME and Cooperative Development CS Simon Chelugui says this advanced funding will aim at providing larger loans thresholds for micro, small and medium enterprises as the country continues to its push towards the adoption of the credit score system to create more single-digit interest loans. However, is this new fund just an impersonation of already existing MSME funding projects in the country? Hibak Said tells us more.
About a year ago, when the Hustler Fund was launched, a sigh of relief resonated across the country as small businesses now had access to a single-digit loan with zero collateral needed.
I now officially launch the Hustler Fund for the Republic of Kenya.
Fast forward to the present day, where the fund has advanced to serving around 22 million Kenyans, availing about 47 billion shillings in loans with a 73% success rate.
This fund, SAFER, is a graduation of, we have 1.2 million people that I can hand over to you, where 3 years ago we could not tell who is good and who is not good. Now we have 1.2. Those are the people I will hand over to KDC, to the SACCOs and to all MFIs to give them a graduation fund.
Now, this has metamorphosized to the availing of around 6.5 billion shillings by the Kenya Development Corporation, which oddly enough aims for the same demographic with close to the same terms. With a lot of mystery still shrouding the new funding system by the Kenya Development Corporation, it seems that the 42 million euros will be channeled to the graduating class of the Hustler Fund. The aim, the government says, is to increase channels of funding owing to the increased appetite by small businesses for single-digit loans. But at what cost?
So this money being lent to KDC at a concessional rate is being extended to MSME, to the participating financial institution at an interest rate of 8.5% per annum, with a period of moratorium to allow to build up that liquidity.
Already 500 million Kenyan shillings has been disbursed to a microfinance institution to be availed to small businesses, preferably those who have shown an affinity for paying back through the Hustler Fund.
Thank you, Hibak Said, for that report. Now, the media has been urged to use its power to promote values that will ensure the youth, Kenyans, and the rest of Africa adopt vices that boost democracy, fight corruption, as well as promote free trade. Adopt values that promote free trade. Speaking during the final day of Students for Liberty Conference at Catholic University of Eastern Africa here in Nairobi, where experts asserted that one of the biggest problems facing contemporary democracies is still striking the correct balance between freedom and restrictions. The conference brought together delegates from across Africa to discuss ways to which the continent can enhance borderless Africa through trade and democracy, as part of the bold efforts to guarantee that they promote concepts that would encourage democracy across the continent. The conference's last day also saw the launch of the Freedom African magazine.
As a journalist, we really have a very important role in promoting human dignity and individual expression. So we need to use these tools. We also need to support those who have challenging stories that they want to be told.
We are launching the Freedom African magazine, which focuses on promoting human dignity and individual freedom across the continent. And the magazine actually comprises of various pieces, that is opinion articles, poems, art, debate, and many other factors, many other writings in the magazine. So today we are very excited because this is a great achievement for African liberty.
So economic theory says that tax design should follow certain principles. Here too, African governments get taxation policy design wrong. The effect of that is that it not only damages and causes efficiency losses in the economy, but it also creates business opportunities become even more difficult to execute. It robs entrepreneurs and households of the opportunity for businesses that they will conduct.
And of course, just to clarify, young people have been urged to shun away from vices and instead adopt values. Ministers of the previous government have criticized the Kenya Kwanza government for imposing high taxes to the citizens. Speaking in Karama, Meru County, the former Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Peter Munya, and the former Health Cabinet Secretary, Mutahi Kagwe, criticized the taxes imposed on farmers, saying that the government should come up with ways to improve farming in the country. They also called upon the nation to rebel against the Hustler campaign and focus on building a healthy and functioning nation.
You cannot determine the value of farm produce because it's not yet processed or even weighed or even sold. So you cannot tax it. That's why it is the preserve of the county government and our constitution to tax farm produce. Now the national government imemaliza huko juu inateremka huko chini. Sasa hiyo ni bottom up ama ni up bottom? Sijui.
Let's get our priorities correct. Get your priorities right. There is no nation. Kenya hii yetu haiwezi kuendelea kama watoto wetu wanasoma na kalamu na watoto wa Uganda na Tanzania wanasoma kompyuta. Watashindana namna gani na watoto wengine? How will they learn? Hiyo ndio sababu unaona tunasema watu wanasoma alafu wanakuja wanasema tax people before they earn the money. Hiyo ndiyo kisomo yenu hiyo. You tax people before they earn the money. And that is why the purpose of our education must be now going forward to move the Kenyan nation from one of hecklers and hustlers to one of a working and wealthy nation. We want to transform ourselves from a hustler nation to a working and wealthy nation.
The Green Thinking Action Party of Kenya leader Isaac Kalua Green warns the newfound relationship between President Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga to be tailored towards improving the cost of living and promoting peace. Speaking in Nairobi during a book launch of Pastor Jamlik Munyasa's 10 books, Kalua said the country is currently at peace due to the relationship between the two. Sentiments echoed by Jubilee Party Sabina Chege. Jubilee Party leader Sabina Chege.
Right now there is a lot of peace in the country because there are two groups, warring groups, that are already speaking together, working together towards achieving the bigger dream of our nation. Take advantage. Our country must remain peaceful. The future of our country is dependent on the peace and the leadership and the leaders keeping to the dream of the nation, their own personal dreams, and being consistent to the promise that they gave to their own people.
And for the leadership is anointed by God. And myself and a few people that I came with from my Jubilee Party, we have had our own share of drama. We were in Azimio and we believed in Baba, by the way. We were not pretending. Tukamsukuma kwa mulima, tukaanguka, akajichora kamutu tu hapo. Na Mungu akabaki kuwa Mungu, si ndio? But what, if you don't accept defeat, then what happens? Because even in class, what are we teaching our children? If we call ourselves on
Now, cooperatives and micro and small enterprises CS Simon Chelugui has advised farmers in Kisii region to take advantage of the recently allocated commodity fund to enhance coffee production. Presiding over a fundraiser in aid of Igonga Catholic Church in Kisii South Sub-County, Chelugui disclosed that the government allocated 7 billion Kenya shillings for coffee farmers in the country, and Kisii County received a large chunk of that fund. Chelugui also encouraged farmers to seriously revert to the dairy industry to benefit from the government's targeted 4.2 billion to 10.2 billion liters of milk program.
Hapa Kisii nilikuwa juzi mwezi wa Januari kutangaza bei mpya ya kahawa. Ndio wakulima wa kahawa waanze kufaidika na kujivunia ukulima yao. Tulitangaza shilingi 80. Serikali ya William Ruto imetoa hazina ya shilingi bilioni 7. Na hapa Kisii nimesikia mzungumzaji mmoja chairman ya Commodities Fund. Hapa Kisii mumechukua shilingi milioni 36. Pale Nyamira wamechukua shilingi milioni 41. Wakulima wa Kisii, nataka mujitokezee. Hii pesa haibagui. Watu wa kule Mount Kenya, Rift Valley, Eastern Province wameshachanuka. Na mimi nawaomba, kahawa ni dola. Tukitaka kuinua utajiri na kupunguza ukora wa uko katika